What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today I'm going to be doing a pretty exciting review. I'm going to be talking about the brand new M&P 2.0 Compact. Now, this isn't to be confused with the original Compact, the Gen 1, that was slightly smaller. This one is actually about the same size as the Glock 19. Now, I gotta say, it took them long enough to actually make an M&P the size of a Glock 19. The weight, I think, was worth it because this is an amazing gun. It is a striker-fired pistol with a polymer frame. It's G19 sized, as I said before. It comes in 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson with a 15-round magazine. All the other standard M&P magazines will work as well. I use the standard size M&P 2.0 and the original M&P, and they both work great. It has an improved grip, just like the M&P 2.0s, which is pretty awesome as well, one of my favorite grips. It also has an improved trigger over the Gen 1, which is a big upgrade also. It still has the articulating trigger, but it can be swapped out for an Apex, which I plan to do fairly soon. Why would you buy the M&P 2.0 Compact? It's a really great all-around gun. I mean, it's just one of those guns that's the perfect size to do all kinds of stuff with it. Anywhere from home defense to competition, which you could run it. There's definitely better options for home defense and competition, and there's better options for concealed carry, but this is the type of gun that can do it all. If you're gonna buy one pistol, I would suggest you buy this, the Glock 19, or maybe even a CZ P10C or a CZ P07. All of those fit the perfect size and weight requirements for a do-it-all gun. The PPQ M2 also fits into that category. There's a little bit of discrepancy on the weight of this gun, however. They have their weight listed at 24 ounces, which is the exact same as the Glock 19. However, my scale did say 26.9. That's not much of a difference, and still comparable to the P10C, Canic Elite, and etc. So let's get into the gun here real quick, and we'll talk about its reliability, accuracy, and all those fun things, and then we'll talk about some of the features, how it compares to the Glock 19 Gen 5, which I also have sitting here, and a CZ P10C as well, because I think these are three of the best pistols, if not three best pistols that have come out in 2017. I'll do a separate review on each of those later, comparing them. We'll just compare them a little bit in the video, but mostly we'll be talking about the M&P 2.0, and for good reason. So first, what's in the box real quick? Well, it comes with two 15-round magazines. I wish it came with three, but two is okay considering I've got about 40 M&P magazines running around here somewhere. This is from my M&P 2.0 full-size FDE version, and this mag worked great. This is a Gen 1 M&P magazine. It worked great as well. And this is a Gen 2, I think, that I have a base plate on. All these work great in testing, just like the Glock model of pistols. It comes with 4 of these interchangeable back straps that you see here, which is pretty awesome. The M&P has a great grip and amazing texture. Definitely the best texture of any pistol out of the box in the market today. And I also really like how they do the back straps as well. The big ones are labeled. These are not. At least mine weren't. They're not labeled medium large, but if you have a set of eyes, you can figure it out pretty quickly. But I have the medium large on here. I believe that helps me get a little distance between my trigger finger and the trigger. I have really big hands, so that helps out a lot. The reliability of this pistol was excellent, with one small caveat. I would have to say, I did have to change the recoil spring. Now, you shouldn't have to, but I like to shoot these Freedom Munitions 147 grain remanufactured. Very, very cheap brass ammo. Not cheap like cheaply made, but cheap price, which is kind of nice. But it's also very low powered. And some would say it's underpowered, but I would say it's done on purpose. The lower recoil, the better, the longer you can shoot, and the faster you can shoot. So it's just kind of to the point to where it will cycle the round, but it won't cycle perfectly in a lot of guns. However, it will cycle from the factory with the Glock Gen 5. The M&P 2.0 didn't like it. Not a problem for me, however, because I changed the recoil spring in my 2.0 FDE version, so I just changed this one as well. I put an 11-pound recoil spring in here. The nice thing about the M&Ps, other than the fact that they're incredibly easy to disassemble, is that their recoil spring, as you see here, can actually be disassembled fairly easily. As you see, this is the tip of the recoil spring here. You just unscrew this, take one off, put another one on, and these recoil springs I think were like $11. So easy fix for me. An easier fix for most people would just be to shoot ammo that isn't lower powered, and you'll be good to go. We shot Blazer Brass and Winchester through this with the standard recoil spring, and we had zero problems whatsoever. So I would say reliability is pretty awesome, although I wish it would have came with a little lighter recoil spring from the factory, but that's okay. Again, a super easy fix. As far as accuracy goes, fantastic. Part of that's because I shoot M&Ps a lot. I'm kind of partial to the Smith & Wesson M&P. Over the years, I shot some competition with them in the past. This might be my favorite M&P for several reasons that I'll talk about in this video. First off, it is a compact sized pistol just like the Glock 19, and I can shoot it very, very well compared to some other guns that I shoot. We shot this at 75 yards, 50 yards, 35 yards. I've had this since it was released. I got lucky enough to get one fairly quick on Gunbroker. Overnight shipped it to my house, which is nice. I did buy this gun. I didn't get it from anybody. And I've had enough time to play with it quite a bit. You know, shoot somewhere between 600 and 800 rounds through it, I think, right now. Maybe even more than that. Definitely better than the stock M&P Gen 1s, I would say. Part of that is because of the enhanced trigger. Now, it's still not my favorite trigger, I might add. Now that I've shot the M&P 2.0, at least 1,000 rounds of that before this, I'm really, really used to the trigger, and it works for me. I can make it work fairly well, although I will be changing this one out to an Apex. Apex has released a flat aluminum trigger shoe that I'm pretty excited about. That'll turn this trigger from okay to one of the best on the market today. The Apex is a huge upgrade for the M&P series. Maybe not in some other pistols. I have one in a PPQ right now I'm testing that I don't think was as much of an upgrade, but in the M&Ps they really help out. The other part of accuracy I would say was probably what, 60-70% trigger, and then probably 30% sights. The sights on the M&P are pretty excellent for standard sights. 3-dot steel sights, there's not really much more you can ask from sights out of the box. M&P delivers, certainly more so than the plastic sights on the 5th generation of Glock, which I just complained about yesterday. Now, as far as features and ergonomics go, like we already talked about, it's got a pretty good trigger and sights. It has very low recoil. That's one of the biggest attributes of the M&P series in my opinion. The Gen 1 had very low recoil. Now you add in this extremely textured grip that you see here, you can really hammer down on the gun, you can really hold it down, and you can shoot incredibly quickly with the M&P 2.0 compact. So much so that you forget that it's a compact sized gun. I was just very impressed with it. I would have no issues whatsoever keeping 10, 15 rounds on target in a self-defense scenario if I had to. Another attribute to that low recoil is that low bore axis that M&Ps are famous for, which is super nice as well. Relatively low mass on the slide, which helps out with the recoil, and then as you can see there, just barely hits over your hand. Very low bore axis, keeps that muzzle climb down. It's got the metal skeleton in the frame, as you see there, visible through the frame. They do those nice little cutouts so you can see that. That's a nice feature, I guess. Another thing I really like about the M&P series is the large trigger guard that you can have for gloved hands. It's just a little bit larger than the Glocks, as you see there, and I think they do it right. It comes down here, it's bigger here, and it slopes up. That way you can get a higher grip on the gun. And unlike Glock, even though it doesn't look as undercut as Glock, they bevel it just a little bit more, and for me it just feels a little bit better in my hands. It has a standard pick rail as opposed to the Glock accessory rail, which I really like as well. Sometimes you have problems with lights and lasers with the accessory rail, but most accessories are made for the standard Picatinny rail, which is why I prefer it. It has a beveled slide, as you see here, compared to the Gen 1s, which is super nice. It helps keep the weight down on the pistol because a little bit was added with this metal frame, so they decreased this just a little bit to keep it around the same weight as the previous Gen 1. However, they do say it's 24 ounces on their website, and again, on my scale, I found out that it was right around 27. Is that a big deal? That's really up to you. For me, I think it just adds just enough weight to make it a little bit more controllable than the Glock series of pistol. So under pressure, I can shoot just a little bit faster with the M&Ps. Another thing compared to the Glock that I really like that the P10C I feel like got right as well is the grip angle. I actually really prefer the M&P's grip angle. Now that's definitely personal preference. If you shoot Glocks all the time, you'll prefer this. Although even in the Gen 5, as you can see here, there's a less pronounced hump than there was before. So I even think Glock is getting on board with getting rid of a little bit of that hump. It's got a ledge there on the sights for all you tactical guys who want to do it off your belt. I will actually be changing these sights out along with the trigger to these sights that you see here. These are Trigicon HDXRs. These are currently my new favorite night sights. I'll have a review out on those pretty soon. The reason why I'll be changing these sights out and the trigger is because I just like to have the best stuff. Could these sights and the trigger work? They absolutely could. Trigger's definitely personal preference. I would change that out regardless. The sights are just a nice touch for me. It'll help me have some nighttime capabilities. Easier to see your gun when sitting on a nightstand kind of thing with the night sights, so they're a big help for me. It's got ambi controls, as you see here. It's got an ambi slide stop. That's so hilarious. You got M&P guys still think this is a slide stop. It wouldn't be on both sides if it was just a slide stop. Now, during the course of the shooting, I actually used it as a slide release, maybe just to mess with a few fanboys. The slide release method is faster. I do go over the top as well. Use whatever technique the situation dictates. The slide release is improved over the Gen 1, as I said in my M&P 2.0 5-inch review, which is really nice. They put a little detent here that I do believe it makes it slightly easier to use a slide release. Magazines eject really, really nicely, really positive and nicely. Unlike the Glock, which occasionally gets stuck and you have to rip them out, these should be easy. They do have little indents that you see here. In case you get a bunch of dirt and grime in there, you can rip that magazine out, and that's a nice feature as well. It has the fish scale serrations. For whatever reason, they're a little bit more functional on the compact than they are on the standard, but I would still go over here and press check like that. These are coming out a little bit more than the M&Ps did. I know when the M&P 2.0 first came out, you could get 5-inch versions of that pistol or the 4.25 for right around $400 to $500. These seem to be running somewhere between $5 and $550. I think I got mine for $520. I think a part of that is just because of the anticipation of a Glock 19 size M&P. I know M&P guys out there have been waiting for this size of pistol for a very long time, so I think they're taking advantage of that a little bit and jacking up the price just a hair. But I'm willing to bet you within a year or so, these pistols will be right down to M&P level. They'll be right around $450 to $500. Because the MSRP is $550, you can usually find them for about $100 less. So even if you get this for $500, I think it is a very, very good value. Right in there with the P10C, right around the same price, and you get just as good a gun, in my opinion. The M&P has some advantages over the P10C, the grip being one of them, although you can get that replaced aftermarket. The P10C has an advantage over the M&P with trigger, although you can get that replaced with aftermarket as well. So I think they're kind of a wash. I'm not going to give away too much, but I am going to do a video comparing which one of these I like better and which one of these I like better, but that's for another video altogether. All in all, I think the M&P 2.0 compact was everything that it should have been. It's everything I expected it to be. I would say it's a 9 out of 10. The only knock that I could give it, it would be the articulating trigger design that they have. Maybe that's because Glock sued them quite a while ago. The other knock I would give them is that I did have to change the recoil spring to run my low-powered ammo. However, that's not going to be a problem for most people because unless you reload or shoot a lot of competition, you're not going to be using that low-powered ammo, so you probably won't notice it at all. The other part of that could have been a break-in. You know, if I would have broke this pistol in for 500 rounds, maybe it would have ran the Freedom Munitions with the standard recoil spring, but since I had the recoil spring laying in the garage, I figured I'd just put it in and not worry about it. We're now doing a Patreon giveaway, so if you want to be entered into that, give me a couple bucks on Patreon, and then every month we're going to be giving away some free products that I get to review from some companies. That way it helps them and helps you guys who help me at the same time. Please help out your local homeless shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Hot damn.
That's like a rape date.